Now, if you grew up in Liverpool over the last 50 years, chances are a school trip would mean a few days away at Colomendy in North Wales. But if you went to Shorefields School, they were more ambitious, taking children across Africa to the heart of the Sahara. 23 years after the final trip, we have been to meet the man who started it all. Everywhere we look in our towns and cities, there are hidden heroes. People who inspire others to reach up further than they can imagine. People who give others the chance to dream.
Al taught me to see the world through different eyes, that travelling is possible no matter where you come from, that you can make friends with anybody.
This is Al Kennedy, a retired humanities teacher from the Wirral. Over the space of 25 years, he took hundreds of children to the Sahara for a 10-week adventure, and most of his pupils have never forgotten what he did for them.
I really hope he realises how much he's touched children's lives and how much positive impact he's had on all of these kids, over the years.
I got the belief that I could go and do and achieve whatever I wanted, really.
In 1970, Al was showing a class at Shorefields School in Liverpool his slides from a trip to Africa, when one of the boys pointed out that what they were seeing was something they would never experience.
One of the youngsters blurted out, "All right for yous. Yous lot went to college and all that. There's nothing down for us, is there?" And I thought, he's right.
Al decided to do something about it. He started planning a trip to the Sahara for the pupils, and the school got on board. Using old army trucks, the first expeditions were realised, and they continued until 1995, allowing over 300 children the chance to travel across Africa and see the desert. We caught up with some of the ex-pupils to see where they are today and what the trip meant to them.
You all right?
Leon Lopez is now an actor and musician and has starred in Hollyoaks and EastEnders. He went on the Sahara trip back in 1995.
It was just the experience of being somewhere completely alien. Like it could have been Mars. When you come from, Prince's Avenue from where I'm from, and then you're there in the middle of a desert surrounded by sand dunes, nothing for miles. You've got scorpions, you've got huge, massive beetles under your bed when you wake up, and then you're surrounded by all your school friends and things like that. It was a life-changing experience that I'll never ever forget. This is kind of where we set off from, so the trucks were parked on this side, and then he was just like full of people's parents and everyone's crying.
Have a nice time.
I remember initially being horrified when I first got there, just because it was such a culture shock and I wasn't really mentally prepared for it, I don't think. And then gradually sort of settling into it, and by the time we got home, being really sad to be back in my little bedroom on my own without all my friends around me and not sleeping under the stars anymore.
After going to university, later in life, Georgia is now a biomedical scientist for the NHS, but she attributes her success to that long journey into the desert.
Everything that I did do after the Sahara, I always put 100% into, and I always felt that I could do it. It sort of gave me that comfort in my own skin to feel that I would be successful in whatever I was doing, and I feel like I have been.
Some of the students on the trips, like Jason Ratchford, took up the mantle of expedition leader themselves and carried on into the profession of outdoor adventuring.
I've led youth expeditions to places such as Borneo, Peru, Bolivia, Tanzania, Namibia. And again, none of these places would be possible if it wasn't for that trip in 1988 with Alistair Kennedy.
Jason's mother had died when he was 14, and with his father unwell and not working, money was tight, and his place on the truck was not guaranteed.
My father spoke to Al and discussed with him the fact that we just didn't have the cash. Al was incredibly generous and spoke to the Young Explorers Trust and got me a small bursary which just bridged the gap and enabled me to go on the trip. The highlight of the expedition for me would have been the Hogger Mountains. They were unique, they were high, the highest mountains I'd ever seen at that point. The landscape was beautifully alien. And the people who lived there, the Tuaregs, were so friendly to these Scouse kids who'd come out of the middle of nowhere in these big trucks. I think Alistair came from a period of time where teachers invested a lot into their pupils. He just wanted us to achieve what we could possibly achieve. He wanted to give us the same opportunities that he had.
Al himself has not had the opportunity to view the films from the past trips, so his friends have arranged for him to have a private viewing with his daughter Alex, who also went on one of the expeditions.
I see my dad as my dad, but I know everyone else they see my dad as someone who's given them a chance in life, given them the opportunity to see that there's something else.
Brilliant, you know, it brings back loads of memories.
It'd just be a good adventure, really. You've got to experience different things to know what you're going to like, and if I didn't like it, then fine, but I might do.
You see this and you just think, wow, I actually did that, and I've forgotten about that bit. But yeah, as soon as you see it on there, you can take yourself straight back, and it makes you want to go back. I never thought I'd actually say that.
These 10 weeks were never a walk in the park. It was hard graft and problem solving. Visas were refused, the trucks broke down, roads collapsed. They had to solve all their problems themselves, but the rewards were worth it.
We slept in the open, so the sunrise would come with you know, the group of us in our camp beds, seeing the sun coming through their eyelashes and opening up, and seeing that vista, you know, going out for mile after mile after mile, and you can't do that in the city. And seeing it for real was something that they would ever have seen before. Quite often, you know, a youngster would just out of the blue say, "Yeah, you know, I can do anything," and you know, that sort of you know, change in outlook was worth its weight in gold.
Both Al and his pupils saw, felt and recognised the power of exploration to educate and to promote change. All the Sahara year groups had a big reunion in 2015 and finally had the chance to thank Al for everything he'd done. Nearly 50 years since Al took his first children to the Sahara, the new head of the school is looking to restart the trips and continue Al's legacy.
Theirs was a real education. There wasn't an attainment target or key stage test in sight. Imaginative, unconventional, and it was good. These young, ordinary inner city kids went to Africa and became extraordinary.
Well, that certainly beats the trip that we went on to Hadrian's Wall. We're back next week. Goodbye. Next week, we ask if the great outdoors is better for preschool education than traditional indoor schools.
The problem with a lot of children now is they're leading a very sedentary lifestyle. They're not getting the physical development they need. If you can develop children physically, then it will help with their academic abilities later on.